Hello everybody, my name is Radio Rave. I'm a developer for Retribution, and I'll be the main presenter for this video. Today, I'll be giving you guys an extended look at our upcoming version 2.0 update. This is our first in-game update to use version numbers, hence the 2.0, and that'll be the standard going forward. This update is mainly built around the addition of new quality of life, as well as changes to improve the game and ultimately transition Retribution into an exciting new era. Without further ado, let's start with some changes regarding how you get around the game world. Monkey Skyway agents are among the most iconic NPCs in Fusion Fall. As our tech improves, so does the ability to update some details of certain NPCs. You may notice their visors, and most transparent materials in the game for that matter, look black when facing away from light. This isn't really befitting for glass, and in this instance, doesn't match the shade of pink used for these visors in the promotional artwork. Due to that, we've adjusted these visors in version 2.0 to fix those issues. You can expect similar changes to other glass materials like this to be rolled out over time. These jetpack flames are noticeably transparent, and depending on the angle, it may seem like they aren't even there. In order to make them fiery and brighter, edits have also been made to them. These changes also apply to the agent that flies you to your destination. But is there anything being added to the Monkey Skyways? Well, let's take a look. Introducing Turbo Travel. This is a brand new feature developed by the team that we're incredibly excited to show you. Mojo Jojo decided that the current Skyway wasn't cutting it. So this feature allows you to pay 2 times the cost for 2 times the speed while riding Monkey Skyways. With this, the time it takes to travel around the game world will be significantly shorter, and you'll be getting much more bang for your buck while spending on Monkey Skyway flights. To use Turbo Travel, all you have to do is click this new checkbox at the bottom of the Monkey Skyway UI. The prices will automatically adjust, and all you have to do is purchase your flight. The Skyway now services 8 entirely new routes. You'll be able to fly between City Point in Ennsville, City Station in Townsville Park, Tech Square in Mojo's Volcano, and finally, Devil's Bluff in Nowhere. We hope these changes help provide a better Monkey Skyway experience. That's it for me. I'll be handing it off to Cake Lancelot now to talk about some new optimizations coming to the game.
Hello everyone, I'm Cake, the project lead of Retribution. I'm here to go over some of the performance optimizations that we're introducing in the 2.0 update. Just a quick disclaimer, all testing was done with the new OpenFusion launcher, which supports an uncapped frame rate. As it stands currently, the Retribution client cannot go above 65 frames per second, but we're looking into fixing this in a future update. With that out of the way, let's dive in. One of the most infamous lag creators are actually NPCs. If there are enough of them in one place, your game is bound to slow down. But why is that? Given the limited set of tools that we have at our disposal, my initial assumption was that the amount of character models being drawn on screen was the culprit. With that assumption in mind, I made a tweak to the game where the render distance of NPCs would be reduced if there were a lot of them. However, when we shipped the 1.9 update with this tweak applied, the Ice Spire was still a pretty choppy experience. So what's going on? Well, it turns out that even if you can't see the NPC, a lot is still happening under the hood. Every frame, each NPC is doing 2 checks, one to see if there's ground below it, and one to see if there's something in front of it. This can get quite sluggish if there are several hundred NPCs in one map square. One easy optimization is to not do these checks if the NPC has come to a complete stop. Another cause for concern is the frequency of these checks. Does it really need to be done every single frame, potentially hundreds of times per second? As it turns out, no, not really. So we've introduced a distance-based system. NPCs that are further away will update less often, along with NPCs that you are currently not looking at. With these 2 changes, the Ice Spire goes from a nearly unplayable 25 FPS to a pretty smooth 80 plus FPS on my computer. So our NPC problem is solved, right? Not so fast. If we turn on the floating display for NPC names, suddenly our frame rate is cut in half. What's the deal? Remember those checks that the NPC was doing? A very similar thing happens with the floating name display. Every frame, the game will check if there's a clear path from your point of view to the NPC, and if there are any obstructions, it won't draw the NPC's name. This is also quite inefficient. Even in the ancient version of Unity that FusionFall uses, it knows if an object is visible or not. So let's hook into that functionality and not do this obstruction check if the NPC isn't in our view cone. Much better. Now enabling floating names only takes a few frames off our total FPS rather than having it. The last thing I looked into was the stuttering that's present when loading new areas. As it turns out, the game was cleaning up all unused assets on every area change, which, as you can probably guess, will cause lag spikes. This made sense when the game came out, but with an overwhelming majority of computers having at least 8 GB of memory at their disposal, it isn't really needed anymore. We've removed the cleanup on area change, and tweaked how asset cleanup works in other parts of the game. We hope that these changes will improve your gameplay experience, and as always, we'll be monitoring feedback to make further tweaks as necessary. Enjoy!
Hey guys, Alfie here. As a lifelong MMO player, I've grown accustomed to older games being modernized over time. FusionFall should not be any different. Let's take a peek at the upcoming changes with Retribution version 2.0. Let's talk about inventory management. We've fixed the scroll bars, and you'll now be able to scroll at your own pace through your inventory. This change is universal and will apply to any other menus that have scroll bars. Right-clicking will now move items between your bank and your inventory, just like quick selling at a vendor. Recently, we introduced the click and drag change for maps, but we accidentally removed the names of the map squares. Not only has this been fixed, but we've also added a mission finder to the map. You'll now be able to see missions around the world that you have yet to complete. Previously, map icons were limited to a certain range in the My View tab, but with this update, we've uncapped the range and all icons will be visible from anywhere on the map. Have you noticed it yet? We finally fixed GUI scaling. This long requested feature will now allow you to play on most aspect ratios and widescreen resolutions. You will be able to toggle this on and off, just in case you prefer the scale it had before. We will be increasing the amount of items you can buy back from 5 to 15. Hopefully, this will reduce the chance of you selling your valuables by accident. Thank you all for listening to me yap about making your gameplay experience better. For all the changes, please take a look at the full patch notes once the update releases. Radio is actually screaming in my ear to shut up, so I'm going to totally willingly let him speak now.
Hey everybody, did you miss me? We'll be capping off today's video with a section on upcoming changes surrounding nanos. First off, we'd like to clarify some things about our plans for new nanos. We have no specifics to share today regarding new nanos coming to the game, but we'd like to share what players can expect in terms of how they'll be able to acquire new nanos. There's already a system in-game for getting a nano by leveling up and through missions given by NPCs. Although we have intentions to expand the level cap, it's not something that'll be happening soon, and as such, we've removed Flapjack, Johnny Bravo, and the 2 other unmarked slots present at the end of the nano book. Don't fret, we still have intentions of adding these nanos, we just want to give players a better idea of what to expect. For now, we'll primarily be adding nanos through New World nano missions. However, that won't be the only way players can receive nanos. We intend to have nano capsules, which you may remember as items you can use from your inventory to receive a nano, returned from Academy. You won't be gaining them through codes this time around. Instead, there'll be rewards for things such as races, bosses, and even events. Nano capsules received through events would receive a more permanent way to get them eventually though. With that established, let's move on to the actual changes. We're here in a nano station to discuss something pretty important, powers. Most importantly, their distribution. It can be quite annoying to earn a new nano and realize that what you can actually do with them is limited due to them having 2 of the same type of power. We've decided that in order to better balance out nano powers throughout the game, and make sure each nano has 3 unique options, to swap some of the powers between nanos. Starting with Swampfire, he's quite infamous for having 2 sleeps. Well, no more. We've swapped one of his sleeps for Utonium's Drain Point. Another nano infamous for having 2 sleeps is Magus. He too has had one of his sleeps swapped, and he'll be receiving Courage's Drain Point. Finally, Wilt had 2 snares and DD had 2 damages. They now have a snare and damage each after swapping. Next, Recall Self has been given a new icon to better represent the power. It's also been renamed to just Recall. You may be wondering what this means for Recall Group. Exiting our inventory, you'll see number 2 now has an icon similar to Recall's old one. Let's see what he can do. That's right everybody, Dash is back. In version 2.0, Dash will be replacing Recall Group, affecting number 2, Hex, and Vilgax. Unlike Academy, this Dash is steerable and gives you 1.5 seconds of invincibility frames. It has the same cooldown and takes the same amount of stamina as Rocket. That's all we have for you today. We hope you're excited to be dashing into the future with us.